Welcome to PDAC 2023. My name is Julian DeRosier from the IIF. I am joined today with William. Hi, William. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
So maybe first thing, introduce yourself and the company you're representing.
Thank you. William Sheriff. I'm the Executive Chairman of Encore Energy Corp. We're an in-situ only uranium extraction company in the United States with 3 of the 10 licensed plants.
Okay, so let me stop you right away here. You said in situ. I was expecting a mining company going, drilling, and so on. What is the difference?
Well, we're basically a plumbing and water company. We drill on many, many holes, 100-foot centers, and everything is a plumbing system. We inject oxygen only into the ground, dissolve the uranium, pump it to the surface, and remove it from the subsurface. So in essence, we're actually leaving the subsurface cleaner than it was. It's still not clean, but it's cleaner than it was because we don't get all of the uranium.
All right, and then so what are the advantages that it poses, apart from the obvious one of not creating a big mining operation?
Sure, and the environmental aspects are huge, of course, but aside from that, your time to get into production is only 2 to 2.5 years, maybe 3 if you're in Texas or Wyoming where we are. Permitting is very much streamlined, largely because of the environmental process. It's so environmentally friendly. Similarly, on the reclamation, once you're done mining, it's also much less expensive because here again we haven't created any large openings. We don't have tailings piles. We don't have tailings dams or big plants. So reclamation is much better. Lower capex, infinitely better in many respects.
So does that also mean that you can have lower grades actually of uranium than normally?
Absolutely, because our biggest cost is drilling. And then after that, we're simply recirculating water and injecting oxygen and recovering uranium just as you would in any municipal water treatment plant. Very similar ion exchange system.
Okay, and is that technology proven? Did you have a pilot plan running? Where are you at exactly in the stage?
It is proven, and we're leaders in the industry. One of our board members is one of the 2 inventors of the process dating back to the 1960s. And we've got the gentleman that's our CEO, Paul Goranson, has built the last 3 plants that have operated in the U.S. So we're leaders in the industry and definitely have a big head start in situ with 3 licensed plants.
Well, this is very exciting. Obviously, anyone who wants to follow more of the story, where they can do that?
The easiest place is on our website, of course, www.encoreuranium.com. And I'd also mention we have a very nice video introducing the company and the nuclear industry in many languages, including German.
Well, then, as you just said, like maybe introducing more of the sector and so on, I mean, there's endless debates about nuclear. Right now, your licenses are in the U.S. Can you tell us a little more about U.S. view on nuclear and what could be or who could be your potential clients?
Well, we already have 4 contracts with nuclear utilities in the U.S. The U.S. is clearly it's the biggest consumer of nuclear energy on the planet at this point. Will be throughout this decade. And simple fact of the matter is you cannot have carbon-free energy without nuclear power at this point. Someday, maybe decades ahead, but for now, if you're going to deal with the green energy and the carbon, you must have nuclear as a component.
I think that this is a very interesting point of view for sure, that the share is shared in the U.S. Do you have any governmental support in your project?
Any what?
Any governmental support?
We don't have any issues. We have an entire environmental department that works on things as well as dealing with the government and the various regulators. Of course, we're a very highly regulated industry, so we have to comply with very, very significant safety standards.
Okay. And for any potential shareholders, how's your shareholding structure looking like?
Well, since we listed on the NYSE earlier this year in New York, on the NYSE American, our shareholder base is shifting somewhat to the U.S., but right now we're probably about 45% U.S. shareholdings and primarily larger funds, and institutionally held. Have not really made that deep of inroads into the retail or high net worth individual other than in Canada.
Okay. And maybe lastly, cash on hand position, how strong are you? Well,
we just did $100 million worth of financing in order to take on this large acquisition, Alta Mesa, which we'll be producing in the first quarter of 2004. That'll be our second plant coming in after 2023 for Rosita. So our cash flow is ramping up. Right now we've got about 20 million, 17 million to 20 million on cash on hand.
Well, this sounds pretty exciting. So, William, and I obviously encourage everyone that is watching to go on the website, get to know more about the company, about the in situ technology. I think that this is groundbreaking technology. Obviously, we saw that some people are trying it in copper, for example. Some people are even trying it in lithium and other commodities. But for uranium, are you guys the only one doing it? Are you the most advanced? Where are you
Well,
in the
about
sector?
60% of the world's uranium comes out of in situ production, primarily out of Kazakhstan. But Kazakhstan and Australia as well allow acid injection to recover the uranium, which of course creates some environmental issues with acid. We are amongst 3 or 4 different companies in North America that are focused on in situ. As I say, we're most advanced, quickest to production. Yep. But we all inject benign solutions, either oxygen or baking soda.
All right. So again, proven technology. Production coming up, ramping up in the U.S., already selling products. Have you already sold any?
We have. In fact, we were one of 5 selected suppliers to the U.S. government for their stockpile program, and we were able to achieve the highest price on contract. It was a Dutch auction, and we were a bit lucky, but a bit of planning as well. We were able to sell our first 100,000 pounds to the government at $70 and change, substantially above the spot price. Most of the market is contract driven, though, not spot. So our relationship and our a lot of gray hair on our board and management, been doing this a long time. That pays off in getting the contracts with the utilities. As I said, we're already set to deliver into contracts this year, 2023, and 2024 our production is pretty well booked.
Well, that was a very interesting talk. William, thank you very much for your time. Everyone, go pay more attention on the story, go on the website, write them an email if you need to, and get to know more about uranium in the US, especially in situ technology. William, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time.